Hi, my name's Venus O'Hara and I'm a professional sex toy tester. In this video, I'm going to talk about my experience having sex with a male sex doll. I recently participated in a BBC Three documentary called Sex Robots and Us, and I was asked to have sex with a male sex doll off camera and provide my professional opinion. At first I had my doubts because I was thinking this is a bit weird. Obviously I was really flattered to have the opportunity to be on the BBC because my mission in life is to raise orgasmic awareness, and that's a great platform to do it. But I was thinking this is a bit weird because I'm not desperate to be famous, and it made me think about the program The Word from the 90s, the Channel 4 program in the UK. And there was a part of this program called I Would Do Anything to Be on TV, and people used to do all these freaky things like, I don't know, snorkel in cow's urine, I don't know, just really silly or extreme things. And I was thinking, it reminded me of that. I mean, having sex with a male sex doll, it seemed very freaky. And even though I've tried lots and lots of different types of sex toys, I didn't see it as a sex toy. I almost considered it more to be a human replacement, and that's what made it really freaky for me. In the past, I have watched documentaries about sex dolls, and I find the subject really fascinating. But when I think of sex dolls, then I usually think of a hypersexual female sex doll, usually with massive breasts and a tiny waist, almost like Barbie, but a lot bigger, of course. It's not something that I think women are ever going to consume anytime soon. And that was my role in the documentary, to give a female perspective on this. But in terms of sex toys, I think women's sex toys and men's sex toys are going in very different directions. Well, if we look at sex dolls, for example, I think people are trying to go for the more and more hyper-real or fantasy woman. And the most important thing about a sex doll is what it looks like. I think it's really a visual thing. Whereas for women using sex toys, we like sophisticated shapes and luxurious objects that do not look like a veiny phallus at all. And also when we use a sex toy, even though we want it to look nice, during the act, we're not looking at our toys lustfully and thinking, wow, it's such a nice vibrator. Whereas I think people who use a sex doll, they're looking at it and treating it as if it's a replacement for a human. So going back to my experience, when I got over the freakiness of it, I started to think, wow, this is really cool, because as a professional sex toy tester, there is a lot of talk about dolls and robots now, and I really want to be able to try something like this. Given that a sex doll costs maybe between 2,000 and 5,000 euros approximately, then it's not that easy to be able to test one. So I started to feel very fortunate to have this opportunity. I saw pictures of the doll online before I unboxed it. Well, it had a name actually. It was called Steven, which was very weird because some of my sex toys have human names, but not really. They usually have, I don't know, maybe different names. But this seemed like it was giving it a personality right from the beginning. And as soon as I saw it, I thought, this is definitely not for a woman. This definitely has a male customer in mind, because you could penetrate the mouth, the anus, and I was very curious about the phallus because I couldn't actually see that online, so I saved it until the unboxing. The doll arrived in a big cardboard box and it looked like a coffin really. It was very freaky. I had to screw the head on and put a wig on and put the phallus in, because it had a big hole where you can put interchangeable penises, which I was I wasn't surprised about. That's what I was expecting, because if you're going to spend 2,000 euros or pounds, whatever, on a sex doll, then you definitely want to be able to choose different types of penises for different moods. You could have one that vibrates, one that's got a bit of curve. The phallus it came with was far too big for me. It was very veiny and realistic and just massive, and there was just no way I was going to be able to use that one. So I was actually able to use my own dildo with the doll, so that was a relief, and also for hygienic reasons as well. I was glad to use my own toy, even though I always use a condom with phallic objects. Anyway, once I got the doll assembled with its head and what else, wig, etc., I carried it out of the box with great difficulty because it's really, really, really heavy, and that's something I thought would be quite attractive about it, because I thought maybe it would feel, you know, like having the weight of someone on top of you in missionary position. That might be a quite nice sensation if you're missing real sex. But in fact, it was just so difficult to move that it was impossible. It was impossible to even think about that. So it was actually a lot of work for me to be able to do anything with this doll. Whereas with a sex toy, it's just literally switch it on and then close your eyes, and then a few minutes later you're having an orgasm. Whereas with this doll, I had to go on top. There was no other way to use it. I had to do all the work. Imagine spending all that money on a doll and then having to do all the work. And there was not even clitoral stimulation, so I couldn't even have an orgasm. And the head just didn't screw on properly. It was looking off to the side, looking out the window. And it was like having sex with someone who's just not that into you, or not into you at all. The real freaky stuff happened the day after filming, actually, because as soon as we stopped filming, we put Stephen back in the box, and I kept my dildo, of course. I had to find a shipping company that would collect Stephen from my penthouse apartment that has no lift. And I tried to request 2 people to come and collect it, but that just seemed to be impossible. And then when someone did come, this poor guy came up all these stairs and tried to take it down on his own with great difficulty. And he was like that, "What's in this box? What on earth is in this box?" And I said, "Sports equipment." And I was just thinking, please take it, because it was in the middle of my lounge for a couple of days, and I was starting to worry a bit. I thought, if something happens to me, how am I going to explain this? And that's something you have to take into consideration if you want a sex doll, because they're definitely not easy to store and not easy to move around either. So discretion is definitely an issue. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you want to watch the documentary Sex, Robots and Us, check out the link below. I haven't actually watched it myself. Thanks for watching!